those of you who are following along or have just seen this for the first time, Josh and I usually use every Wednesday. This week it's Tuesday to battle head to head and do our little game called Survival of the Sharpest. The rules are very simple yet really complicated. We cannot use each other's plays, and we do like a snake type of draft system. Also, we are now sort of getting into the thick of things here where we can only draft each player 5 times total during the 18-week regular season. I don't think I've used a multiple player yet. That's something that I wish that I had in front of me right now because now
See,
we're starting to
we're
get.
gonna put our AP to the test.
There you go.
AP, do we have anyone that we've used multiple times for either Jared or I?
Yeah, because
Actually, if you have like a whole list, that would be very beneficial.
yeah, this is going to get really complicated because Derrick Henry is starting to get into Derrick Henry mode, and one of us
Yeah.
is going to take him each week as the season progresses, especially this week where he is the most expensive player in the player pool. And I probably will never use Naeem Hines again because he burned me so bad. So we'll see how it goes.
For sure. I'm just waiting to see if we can get an answer from our AP. I don't know if we are going to have anything, but if we don't, that's okay. I know things are busy for everyone, so
What's going on, Lou? How you doing? Yep, busy day as always for the crew. Um, you technically would get the first pick because
I
you
would.
lost.
Yeah, I did lose. All right, let's. If I haven't taken anyone back to back yet, then this would be my first player that I'm taking in 2 straight week or in another week that I'm rostering for the second time. You already said his name. I think this guy's gonna smash. Give me Derrick Henry.
Yeah, not surprising. One of us, like I said, was going to pick him. If you didn't, I was going to right there. So Derrick Henry, 3 straight weeks of over 30 touches. That has to be a record. I don't know, a personal record for him. Maybe not, but he should be able to get 4 this week, especially if. Do you think that he gets there if one of those receivers are out? And I think there's a good chance that both of them miss again.
I think that he will get there if one of them are out.
Also, another
Specifically
thing.
because I think if one of them is out, it's going to be Brown, and I think
Yep,
Julio isn't that much of a factor right now.
agreed.
Oh, okay. Kai knows this. Only one player has been used twice. I need to see who it is. Anyway, go ahead. You can keep talking. We're just waiting for his response in the chat.
Yeah, I was just going to add that a few things happened last week that are still trending. Like, we're expecting more from him. Again, he got 35 touches. Obviously, what he got on the ground is what we expected to happen, but he still is on the lower variance side of things in relation to touchdowns. And this is his lowest volume of passing game work, which is extremely surprising to me. I know they used a lot of McNichols, but you would think that if AJ Brown and Julio Jones were out, that Derrick Henry would be used much more in the passing game. So that I'm really scratching my head at that one.
Yeah, I would agree. I'm surprised that he didn't get more passing work, but I don't know. I think this is such a smash spot against the Jags that you just have to consider Derrick Henry here. And I think you have to be considering locking him in. I don't know about cash games yet, but I do know that he probably has one of the highest ceilings on the slate.
Yep. I mean, I faded him, and I know you faded him too on Sunday of last week. It's just a spot where again we weren't scared of him until he gets to that 30-point range, and I think he has a really good shot to do it here. The price tag has not gone up enough to where like it is what it is, but it affects the way that you definitely craft the rest of your rosters this weekend. So Josh will have that task with this build, and I will be doing the other side of that and trying to figure out where I can leverage in other positions. So the last thing I'll say about Henry is you would expect 4 touchdowns through 4 games this season, but you would not expect 3 touchdowns in one game and then only one other touchdown in 3 other weeks. That's kind of where I'm scratching my head there. If you were to tell me
Yeah.
that he got 1 touchdown off of quick math, 85 touches in 3 games, like that's really discouraging for Henry. So we'll see if the wide receivers can stay healthy, and if not, expect him to get 30 plus touches regardless. Okay, now I kind of have to feel like I can do whatever. I can't do whatever I want, but I think the strategy is pretty clear now. I was wondering to see who was going to pick Henry so I could use that against you a little bit. So there's nothing that I really want to do on the Jacksonville side that seems gross, even though I do think, and this could play out, so we'll see. I don't know if anybody's going to go do that. We talked about some Jacksonville receivers that are in play. Just don't know if we're going to be doing that here. What I do want to do, and I think that this is going to be how I get some of that leverage, is go with this Minnesota passing attack, and I'm going to take Justin Jefferson at 8K.
I like it. So you have one more pick after that. Who else are you taking?
Yep. We are going to, let's see. I want to stick with another receiver here, and we're going to go with a guy who, so I think that T. Higgins is going to miss, and from what I'm seeing, Jair Alexander shouldn't be good to go either. So I'm going to go with Tyler Boyd.
Nice. Love it. All right. I'm going to tight end, taking Darren Waller. I was praying you weren't going to take him, but I'm going to find a way to make the salary work with Henry and Waller in the lineup.
Yep. Waller got in the end zone last night. Not surprised there. The way the teams are approaching him is interesting. Again, I think that I don't think anybody's going to stop him on Chicago. Roquan Smith is not known for his good coverage. He's usually on the lower end of things. So Darren Waller should be just fine. I was worried about the Chargers specifically stopping him, so that we kind of saw that happen last night. So good pick here. He's the best tight end on the board. Best tight end play. And you could argue that he's better than a lot of 7K running backs too. Okay. Doesn't this Urban Meyer drama affect Jacksonville? I mean, it's not a good look. I also
Did you
saw
see the new report this morning?
I did. Like everybody on the team laughed at him.
Yeah. Like people were saying they have no respect for him. The owner was saying
That's
how he
fun.
needs to prove it to us now. Like it's just it's bad news bears for Urban Meyer.
It's really fun.
Yeah.
If you haven't watched that video, go watch it. Anyway, yeah, okay, so you went with tight end and running back. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try to get a running back play that didn't really work out for us last week, but I think is in a good enough spot again. And get some correlation here. Let's go Aaron Jones at 8,400.
Nice. Good play there. I am going to man, can I do it? You know what? We're just gonna do it and we're gonna find a way to get it done. Let's get Devonte Adams as my top wide receiver.
Okay, here we go. Making things fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's nobody on Cincinnati that can even guard Adams, so he should be the clear play there. Definitely in cash game consideration and direct leverage off of my Aaron Jones play. So I'm probably done stacking that game just because you're kind of getting a little thin there now. So can kind of do whatever I want here still, but I do have to start looking to save some money. Let's see. Yeah, okay. This is definitely GPP, so it's not cash, but I do think that DeAndre Swift is interesting in this game specifically. I don't think Minnesota has the personnel to stop him. He's coming off a bad performance against Chicago. 2 out of the 4 weeks, he has been a top 10 running back. I do expect that he's going to get the work in the pass game here. And if he gets in the end zone, I think it's a very, very good tournament play here. So it's under 7,000. I'll go DeAndre Swift to pair with Justin Jefferson.
I like it. I am gonna go to the man. Where do I want to go? Do I get direct correlate? No, I don't think I want to take that spot. Don't want to take that spot really. You know what? I'm just going to leave this for later. I'm going to leave my running back situation for later. I'm going to go to wide receiver. I got to get some value plays, and I think this is the top guy when it comes to guys under 6K this week at the wide receiver position. Give me Jacoby Myers at 5,900.
Yeah, I definitely don't mind that whatsoever. Like we said, Jacoby will find his way to be. I mean, he already is the team's wide receiver one. Looked okay. It was a bad like a bad the game was just raining and gross and disgusting. So should be way better against Houston this week. So I don't hate that at all. I am now on the clock again, and I'm gonna go to a riskier play, but I think it's necessary here. And in order to not necessarily block you, but make things a little bit more interesting, I'm gonna go with Damian Harris at 6,500.
That's perfectly fine. That wasn't even going to be my running back, baby. I already found my running back. Give me a guy right under Damian Harris and give me Leonard Fournette.
Yep, I like that. The price tag is really, really good for Fournette this week. 6,400. He's probably going to be a top cash game option. Both of these guys could be. Again, the Damian Harris touch count scared me last week, but shouldn't be scared because they were facing Tampa Bay. So I do think that with the James White injury, the New England's going to be forced to do a lot of things. And one thing they're not going to be forced to do is run the ball, which should be just fine for Harris. And Fournette, we saw Jonathan Taylor absolutely destroy the Miami defense, and I expect the same thing from the Bucks offense.
Yep. All right.
Okay,
Your turn. Go
it is
for it.
my turn. It is my turn. Yeah, Kai AJ Green is on the slate. I don't
Dang,
think that I'm
AJ
gonna go
Green.
there though. It's kind of surprising again that like we don't really have that game that is necessarily gonna pop off by any means. Um, you could argue that San Francisco, Arizona is one of those games. You could
Yep.
also argue that. Can you argue that Philly and Carolina is one of those games? I don't know. This is a weird. It's definitely a weirder slate this week. There's no like. It's mostly because the high powered offenses just aren't on the board, and the ones that are facing teams that they're going to demolish.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I wasted all my running backs already. Shouldn't say wasted, but they're definitely like. I don't think I have one cash game. You can make an argument that Jones and Harris are cash game acceptable. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and try to lock down a cheap defense, and then we don't really like many of them, but give me the Jacksonville Jaguars here. And if Josh has a good game from Henry, then this hurts me.
I was gonna take the Jags even with Henry, just because I knew they were probably the best cheap defense that was an option. Um, all right, so we've got to change up the game plan a little bit now because I was gonna go a certain way, and you kind of ruined everything, Jared. So, um, I'm gonna go with. Hold on, let me see how this works out. If I go this way, locking in everyone that I want to take over my next four picks. Oh, this works out just fine. All right. Give me Jalen Waddle as a run back for Fournette at my wide receiver position.
Yep, yep, I like that a lot. I can definitely get behind that. Okay, I'm left with a wide receiver, a tight end, and a QB, and I'm not too sure what I want to do because I should have just gone Waller when I could have. Because now it gets really, really dirty. And the first name, of course, that I saw in here is Jared Cook. So I love that. Hmm. Tight end's disgusting this week. It's really bad.
Yeah, that's why I locked in Waller as soon as I was so happy you gave me the opportunity to just take Waller and call it a day.
Yeah, that was not a good move by me. All right. Uh, this is just the best play that's available. All right, I'm gonna go Dalton Schultz. I don't like it,
oh, oh,
but I'm going
juicy.
him.
Very juicy. Um, all right, give me. We don't know if Shepard's going to be out this week, do we? So I can't just take him. Um, you know what? We're gonna roll with it, baby. We're gonna take Chenault as my flex spot.
Nice. I was waiting and I was kind of debating if I was going to do that, but I did not. So, not a bad move whatsoever. I think that he's going to be a lot more involved as we see. Like, obviously they're going to fill in the Chark role. Will be interesting to see what happens uh, with Carlos Hyde because he should
Yeah,
be good, but like if Carlos Hyde's out for whatever reason, that would be a fantastic option for
I agree.
LaVisca. Okay,
For
quarterback
sure.
and wide receiver left. I have a lot to think about because I left myself in a terrible hole with Dalton Schultz. Terrible, terrible, terrible. I was gonna go, and I can't do this anymore, but I was gonna go with Sam Darnold and DJ Moore, and now I can't do that
Oh,
because
you
of
can't? Everyone in
fucking.
the chat is telling me to take it.
I know, but I can't.
Oh, no.
I am gonna go Darnold, but I
Okay.
feel like I have to run him naked. So we'll see what happens here.
Who do you have left at wide? What's your price that you have left at wide receiver? I'm just curious. I can't take one anymore. So
Yeah, I have 6,800.
okay. Um, ew.
I know.
That's all I'll say about that 6,800 range. Ew. All right. This is kind of the master plan. As soon as I took Derrick Henry, Devonte Adams, and Darren Waller, knew I would need to pay down a QB, and I feel like this is a good spot to do it in against that terrible Tennessee defense. So give me Trevor Lawrence at 6,500.
Ooh. Okay.
T-Law, baby.
Okay. Well, as you can see today, guys, Josh totally outclassed me in every way. But
Yes.
that doesn't mean that I'm out. That doesn't mean that I'm
No,
out.
it certainly doesn't. Certainly does not. I've seen myself do better in some weeks and then just absolutely get beat down on Sunday. So
Yeah, so I really only have two real options here, and I'm not going to take an option. I'm not going to take a risk on Julio Jones. So it's between Marvin Jones, which I can get extreme leverage off of your quarterback play
yeah,
and your receiver play, or I go Antonio Brown against Miami, which is a fine matchup. So what I'm going to do, though, just to make this thing more interesting, is go Marvin.
good move. Good move to get leverage off of me. I probably should have waited to pick my defense, but I just could not wait to lock T line. But for my defense, I am going to go with the. See, like 4,000 isn't even. I don't know why neither one of us didn't save up to get the Patriots defense. Like that would have been the move in this build. Would be to have the Patriots defense, and the other person not have the Patriots defense. Um, let's just hope the Cowboys look decent. Let's go. Let's go Cowboys.
I mean, yeah, they've done really, really well. They've been a turnover machine, honestly.
Yeah,
Even made Sam Darnold look a little bit more pedestrian than he had looked earlier in the year.
they've had two
I,
picks in every single game so far.
yeah,
That's
and
crazy.
most of
I
them
didn't
have
know
been
that.
by the same dude. So,
Yeah, most of them been by Diggs. I saw a stat that said the Diggs on the Cowboys and Diggs on Bills, each one have had a catch for each of week of the NFL season,
yep,
which is funny
I
because
saw
one's
that
a
too.
corner.
Yeah, that's funny. Okay, well, maybe I use this as my week to play guys that I'm never gonna play throughout the year, so I can actually use the guys I want to play moving forward.
There you go.
So look at me.
Um,
Okay, yeah. So I'll let you read your lineup first.
yeah, this is a mess, but a juicy mess to say the least. Uh, Trevor Lawrence at my QB position. My running backs are Derrick Henry and Leonard Fournette. My wide receivers are Devonte Adams, Jacoby Myers, Laviska Shenault, and Darren Waller. My flex spot is Jalen Waddle, and my defense is the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah. See, at least you have some correlation. Most of my
I have
plays are
some
just
good correlation in my build this week. Like
yeah.
I got some solid correlation this week.
Most
I'm
of
very
my plays
happy.
are just blockers from you. So
Yeah.
anyway, I don't know. Sometimes that works in your favor. For me, I have Sam Darnold naked against the Eagles, and I have Aaron Jones against Cincinnati. DeAndre Swift going up against Minnesota. Did bring it back with Justin Jefferson at 8K. Tyler Boyd to correlate with Aaron Jones. Marvin Jones for leverage on your Trevor Lawrence play. Dalton Schultz, tight end against the Giants. Damian Harris against Houston in hopes that they run the ball a ton in that spot with no James White. And then finally, the Jacksonville Jaguars defense. I don't think that the Jets' defensive play is comparable to the Jaguars of this week, but we're going to see a lot of ownership on them on Sunday. You want to touch on that really quickly?
Um, Sorry, can you repeat? I was looking
Yeah,
up pictures of Banos.
I don't think that the people are going to look at the Jaguars this week and use them in the same logic of the Jets play from last week at $300 more. How do you feel about that? Because I think that the Jaguars defense is much worse.
I do think the Jaguars defense is much worse. I'm not going to count it out, but I will say that we have truly dominant defenses on this slate compared to most slates. Like we have so
Good
many
point.
defenses. This is what kind of surprised me. I like to look at our builds at the end of when we get done with this and just see like why did we make the decisions we made? Because like if you look at the top end, you had the Patriots against Houston, you had the Bucks against Miami, you can even potentially say the Raiders versus Chicago. Like all three of those defenses above 4,500. Broncos against Pittsburgh, another one that I think would be in a good spot.
Yeah.
But it surprises me that we didn't pay up for defense, which I know we usually don't do anyway. But like I thought this was definitely a week where we should have. So I don't know, maybe something slipped in our minds. But I think this is a truly unique week where you can make a strong case to play those four defenses, and they're all above 4,400.
Normally we would just say, I'm staying away from this, right? But the
Mm-hmm.
last 2 weeks specifically, we saw the Denver Broncos completely shut out the Jets. Uh, and then we saw last week that the Buffalo Bills completely shut out the Texans. We now have New England, who actually, kept the Tampa Bay offense in check. And if you're keeping the Tampa Bay offense in check and only allowing 19 points, I think that's a win, even though they lost the game. So
Yep.
yeah, I think that I would certainly do that. The Bucks I'm a little bit more hesitant on, given the receiving options and the way that the secondary for Tampa looks, but they are in play for sure. And the Denver defense is a newly added addition as of this morning. I'm a lot higher on them now because of Big Ben's apparent hip issues. I think he still goes. I don't think he's going to sit, but if he does, man, that would be a massive spot for that defense. So yeah, I do think you're right. I would think so. If we're being completely transparent, I know it's only Tuesday, but I think you can make. I think that it's two different worlds this week in paying down. I would try to do my best to save the $1,700 to get to New England.
Yeah, I agree. And that's not usually the advice we'd give most
No,
weeks, but this week it feels that way that you should probably be saving the money. And honestly, depending on what injury news we get from those running backs, like it could be very easy to get that 1,700 this week.
agreed. Okay, like I said, the series is tied 2-2, and we'll see who the winner is for Week 5 on Sunday.